Okay, so we are returning to Hilchos Matnos Aniyim, but we are skipping 2 chapters. Okay, the main reason we're skipping is because of time, because we want to try to finish up the this unit or the topic like before the break. But let me just show you what we're skipping, so I can diminish the guilt, so I can justify to myself why we're doing this. So we ended chapter 7. In Matnos Aniyim. Chapter 8 is all about Tzedakah's role. Sorry, it's not all about. Half of it is about Tzedakah's role as a neder. Okay. The main reason that I'm skipping that, in addition to the time thing, is because I'm not holding a nedarim, and I feel like lots of nedarim questions will come up, which in certain other areas we would just go and look it up, look up the cross references. I feel like you can't do that in nedarim. Nedarim is way too involved and complicated, so I don't want to touch that. And then the other half of chapter 8 is Pidyon Shavuyim, which we actually did last year. We did all these halachos last year in the context of Kavod Harav and Kavod Ha'av, and how you have to do the your Rav before your Av. And so I think we went through all these halachos. So those actually are things that we've done. Okay, chapter 9 is very important, but since the whole thing that motivated me to choose, to advocate for doing Tzedakah this year in the first place was like as a personal, to boost our own tzedakah performance. 9 is all about the kupa and the tamchui, which are important communal institutions, which will give us insight into the way tzedakah works, but it is not as geared towards the individual as chapters 7 and 10. Okay, so that's how I'm bypassing my guilt for skipping. I mean, obviously we should all go. I mean, I've been through this, and I went through it even this year. That's but you should go through it at some point in the near future. Okay, but now we're at chapter 10. Okay, and we're actually going to start off in the Shelat, because I played it up yesterday, and then we'll go through the Machshavah afterwards. Okay. Chayavin anu lihizahir b'mitzvos tzedakah yeser mikol mitzvos say. Oh, I also got to give you a disclaimer, another disclaimer, which is, in this chapter, it's like about a lot of philosophical and ethical ideas about tzedakah. And the nature of it is that we can, this is true of all the Rambam, but we can go into extreme depth or just try to get the gist. I want to try to focus on the Bekius aspect of it. I know we've tried that before. As the shiur is called, right? The titular Bekius, sometimes the Rambam will throw at you a flurry of statements of Chazal, like in Talmud Torah last year in the parak about the Kesser Shel Torah. There were just tons of these, statements of Chazal. We went into them in depth there. Let's not do that unless we really want to. Okay, but just try to get an overview. All right. So that's a big statement. You're obligated to be careful about the mitzvah of tzedakah more than all other mitzvahs I say. More than Yichud Hashem. I mean, it's a very astounding statement. I don't know what he means by that. Say it. What? More than Talmud Torah, right? There's a lot of mitzvahs I feel like it could fit into this category.
More than any mitzvah that he said that is called Keneged Kulam.
Correct. Yeah. Right. And I don't know if he calls this Keneged Kol mitzvahs. That's true. So that's a good point, right? And then the reason he gives is even stranger. Shehat tzedakah simin letzadike yizera Avram Avinu, because tzedakah is a sign of the righteous offspring of Avram Avinu. Okay, and here's an example of the a minor change in the Dufus editions of the Rambam. In the Dufus editions, it says letzadik zera Avram Avinu. Now you might think that that's not a difference, but then Shelat does this. He'll expand on it and he'll say, you might think based on the Dufus editions that Tzadik is referenced to Avraham Avinu, as opposed to being a sign of the. In other words, you might read it as it is a sign of the offspring of the righteous Avraham Avinu, but really it's a sign of the righteous offspring of Avraham Avinu. Big difference in terms of the nuance. All right, Shneimar, as it says, Ki yadativ l'man asher yitzavev v'chulei. So let's look at the pasuk. So this is by Sodom and Amorah. No, yes, this is right before Sodom and Amorah when Hashem says that He's going to reveal to Avram what's going to happen. So Bereshit 18 and 19. But Hashem Amar Hamachase Ani me Avram Asher Ani Oseh. This is Hashem talking, I think, soliloquizing, I guess, right? Hashem said, shall I conceal from Avram what I am doing? Avram Hayo Yihi Lagoy Gadol V'atzum. Avram is going to become a great and mighty nation, and all the people of the nations of the earth will be blessed through him. Ki yadativ, because I have known him, Laman Asher Yitzave Esbanav Esbeso Achrav because I have known him, in order that he command his children and his household after him, v'shamru derech Hashem, and they will keep the derech Hashem, lasos tzedakah u'mishpat, to do tzedakah and mishpat, laman habi Hashem al Avraham es asher diber alav. That's hard to translate. In order that Hashem will bring upon Avraham that which he spoke about him. Yeah. So plain shot. First of all, what is a yadativ? I've known him. What does God knowing someone mean? Just shot.
It's true.
I know this about him.
Okay, so the problem though is God knows everything, right? So when you see, so if you're talking, so when you see God singling out someone saying that I have known him, then what do we mean by knowledge vis-a-vis Hashem? So plain shot is that knowledge is a machshavah hashgacha. Okay, it means that I was mashgiach on him, and that's why you'll find in the discussions of hashgacha, people who say that God doesn't have knowledge of the particulars is synonymous with God is not mashgiach on the particulars. Yeah. Yeah. Same thing with I think maybe the more familiar one is with remembering is also machshavah hashgacha. All of the like giving mind or paying attention to something is hashgacha. Okay. So does that fit in here? So what is he saying? So he's saying you're obligated to be careful about the mitzvah of tzedakah more than all the other mitzvahs, because tzedakah is a sign of the righteous of Avram's descendants. As it is stated, God has known Abraham because he commands his children and his offspring after him in tzedakah and mishpat, to do tzedakah and mishpat. So what was the what's the idea here? Also, just to clarify, I know we know this already, but when he says tzedakah, I think if someone just started learning the 10th parak, they might think that it means like mitzvot tzedakah per se, but the pasuk makes it clear that it is actions of tzedakah and mishpat, right? Like it's not just like the taryag item of tzedakah; it's doing mishpat, tzedakah and mishpat. Yeah.
It sounds like he's pointing out this. Like again, going with the idea that yadativ is hashgacha.
Yeah.
That like there's like some sort of hashgacha zera Abraham.
Yeah.
Like you are roy to either get or you're not roy to get if you don't fulfill tzedakah. Like
right.
Tzedakah is like a prerequisite to like being under the hashgacha zera Abraham.
Right. So can we use that then to answer our question about the seemingly hyperbolic statement about like you're obligated to be careful about this in more than all the other mitzvahs because of this phenomenon, because again, it's very hard for me to say that this is the most important mitzvah. And he's not saying that lashon, right? And in terms of things that you should be careful about, I mean, one question is just, what does he mean be careful? I mean, the last time we saw that was with Hanukkah, right? And there, it's pretty clear he meant that you should do it as opposed to not doing it, but like, I guess the question is, what form does Zahirus take in regards to tzedakah,
A little strange language. I mean, maybe it's not. I guess I don't have Rambam, but chayavin anu mini-shiur mitzvahs. Like,
yeah,
that's not strange.
Right, that's strange.
I don't know that it does anything.
Right, yeah. I also don't know. Are you saying because of the word chayavin or because of the anu?
Anu. Like I feel like usually it's just chayavin.
Yeah, that is true.
Chayav adam or like usually not like we.
Right, that is true. Yeah.
Rambam usually doesn't talk in like the we.
Right, that's true. Let me try taking up the other part of my havamina when you said that. What lashon did he use by Hanukkah? Did he say chayavin? Okay, he did. I want to look at it. I know we did it like every day last week or the week, last week, but we'll do it one more time. Zmanim, Mgilah Hanukkah, 4:12. Mitzvah Hanukkah chaviv mitzvah chaviv hi amod v'tzarich adam lizahar ba. Okay, yeah. So don't know what the difference is. Chalk it up to the question mark. Okay, all right. Let's finish the halacha. So we could think about this. I mean, I like the approach you're taking, right? That there's a certain hashgacha on Abraham's zera who follow in the derech tzedakah, and that somehow demands that you preserve this. Here's another approach. Maybe there are mitzvos that are, I'm going to say this without sounding like I'm a kofar.
More fundamental.
No, that's the no. All right, let me I'll just talk around it for a second. There are mitzvos. Okay, let's take I don't know, what's a mitzvah? Let's say like lulav, okay, right? Lulav definitely points you in the direction of true ideas, okay? But you wouldn't say that lulav is just a halachified form of a value that Avraham stood for, right? It fits into the value system, it serves the value system, but tzedakah is a thing that Avraham stood for that halacha then incorporated into a fundamental part of the system, you know?
Lulav isn't like, it's not an ethic.
It's not an ethic,
It's
right?
not like part of a society.
Right, and I'm not going to define this to ethics because I would also say that yichud Hashem is a thing with that, like that is a value. Maybe a value is better, right? A value that is like what's the word I'm looking for? I'll say fundamental now. Fundamental to Avraham Avinu and his whole the whole enterprise that he started, right? And therefore, there's a different kind of zehirus needed to preserve those things than like the mitzvos that are just particulars in the system. And then the I don't want to imply that mitzvos aren't important, but like, you know, like if lulav stopped being practiced, that would be bad because of the perfection you get from lulav. If tzedakah stopped being practiced, you've lost an entire value of the system, you know? So it's so now why yesterday mikol mitzvos aseh, that part I can't explain yet, but I think that's a good direction maybe, yeah.
The Hilchos thing on the foot story.
Yeah. Right. That's a good example of that also. Yeah. Yeah. And this is also making me wonder why he's singling out tzedakah, because the pasuk says tzedakah and mishpat. And then my favorite pasuk in Yirmiyahu 9:23 says chesed, mishpat, and tzedakah. Okay, right? And which one did the Kabbalists tie Avram to? Did they say chesed? Chesed, yeah, right. Yeah, all right. So we're talking to tzedakah here, right? And God doesn't say chesed, tzedakah, mishpat. That's an interesting thing, right? But yeah, I would definitely put the v'ahavta l'recha kamocha in tzedakah more so than chesed or mishpat, because chesed is going beyond the letter of the law and doing more than you're obligated in, and mishpat is administering justice. But yeah, all right, something to think about. But we got some approaches here. We can revisit it tomorrow. Okay, being kisei Yisrael miskonin v'das ha'emes omedes ela b'tzedakah. Okay, this is a difficult phrase. Also, the throne of Israel is not established, and the das ha'emes, the true religion, does not omedes, does not stand ela b'tzedakah, except through tzedakah. Shneimar, it says b'tzedakah tikonani. All right, let's look at Yeshayahu here. I'm just gonna, this time I actually did prepare, keeping this Tanakh here, so I don't have to go send David to get it every time. I know David's not here now. I'm just gonna read this in context. Yeshayahu 54:14, because I'm not holding in Yeshayahu 54:14. The context is the local context. Oh, this is a haftarah. Roni akara lo yalada. And it's also haftarah in Re'eh. Okay, so I'm gonna read the Re'eh one, just because it's the more local one. Oh, aniya soara lo nuchama. Rhymes. Okay, so afflicted, storm-tossed one who has not been consoled. Behold, I will set down gems as your flooring stones and lay your foundation with sapphires. I will set your windows aflame with ruby and make your gates of carbuncle stones. And sorry, sapphire is such a more beautiful sounding word than carbuncle. Like if you buy your wife jewelry, honey, I got you stones of carbuncle, just doesn't, roll off the tongue. And your entire bounty of precious stones. All your children will be students of Hashem, and your children's peace will be abundant. Establish yourself through righteousness, distance yourself from oppression, for you need not fear it, from devastation, for it will not come near you. Was that the pasuk? Yeah, that was it. Behold, they may indeed gather together, but it is without my consent. Whoever will gather against you will fall because of you. So let's establish yourself through righteousness. So it's funny, it doesn't mention the kisei, right? I expected to mention the kisei, but it sounds, I guess it's meant what he's talking to. It's talking to Yerushalayim, so maybe Tikunani. Yeah, Tikunani.
It doesn't sound like yourself. Is it?
Tikunani.
Oh no, maybe that's female. Okay.
Yeah. I also don't know. Okay. This Yeshayahu is also hard to hear. Hebrew, so I don't know if they're like other forms. I don't know. Yeah. That's why I went immediately to the R scroll. Also, if it were Yirmiyahu, I'd be like, okay, let's try this. But okay. Then I'll finish with the last couple of books here. Behold, they may indeed gather together, but it is without my consent. Whoever will gather against you will fall because of you. Behold, I created the smith who fans his charcoal flame and withdraws a tool for his labor, but I have also created the destroyer to demolish. Any weapon sharpened against you will not succeed, and any tongue that will rise against you in judgment will condemn. You will condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of Hashem, and their righteousness from me. He uses tzedakah again, the word of Hashem. Yeah, so I don't know what the pshat is in that. Oh, no, never mind. Okay. Yeah, all right, so we got to figure that out. And also, what do you call it? Let's finish reading the halakha. We'll think about it tomorrow. Israel will only be redeemed because of the zechus of tzedakah. Again, we have this is another interesting thing. I don't know what the difference is, but in the Dufus editions, it says Ein Yisrael Nigalan Ella b'tzedakah, and this is b'zechus tzedakah. Okay. Shneimar Tzion b'mishpat tivreh v'shaveh hab'tzedakah. It says in Yeshayahu, this one I can translate, Zion will be redeemed with mishpat, with justice, and it's those who return to it with tzedakah. Yeah. All right. So that's a lot of stuff here. Yeah. So we have to figure out. So let's plan for tomorrow. Just try and sharpen up that first idea and see if we can get something definitive. And then got to get some basic idea of the kisei and the das are one idea, that they only stand because of tzedakah. And my understanding of the Rambam's use of das emes is the religion. Like Judaism. I mean, I suppose you could be used in both ways. It could be da'as or das, right? Okay. The foundations of the, like, what I'm thinking of is, let's say, like in the, this is the second time I'm going to come to matzah today. Yeah. In Machshavah Lab, he says, oh, look at that, colors. You need to begin with degradation and culminate with praise. Ketzad, how so? So you start off by saying that in the beginning, Terach, our fathers in the days of Terach and before him were deniers of God and errors. People who erred, after nothingness, and they chased avodah zarah. U'masayim b'das ha'emes. And we conclude with the true religion. The Dufus. There's another thing. So in the Dufus editions, it says, I believe, Kirvanu Kadosh Baruch Hu La, that God brought us close to the true religion. But here it's God brought us close to Him. Mm-hmm. Difference. And He separated us from those who stray. The Kirvanu Lichud, and He brought us close to His oneness. So Das Emes here, I think, plain shot is the religion itself. Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's we can think about that for tomorrow. Okay. Very good. Hey, Yeshua. All right. Let's see.